Hello, it's Saber, and today I have another Japanese manga haul. I think I have exactly 60 volumes this time around. Let's start from this corner since I have a bunch of newer series from either 2022 or 2021 that I have been reading and absolutely loving. First off, we have Volume 1 from Gachiakuta. The cover design is quite fantastic, and I want to show you the full dust jacket view. It has a nice golden holographic effect, and this is what's under the dust jacket. This manga has an interesting duo of creators working on it. You have Kei Urana, she is in charge of the story and the artwork, and then you have a dedicated graffiti artist, Hideyoshi Ando. Gachiakuta has to be my favorite new manga from 2022. It is just a very exciting dark fantasy battle shonen series. The artwork is absolutely incredible, the character designs are very unique and interesting, and it has a fascinating power system. The action scenes in this manga are incredible, and a lot of the paneling uses really interesting angles that you don't typically see, and it just creates a very stunning visual experience overall. Just look at this. It's so cool. This is the main character. His name is Rudo. He has a rather tragic backstory. I'm not going to get into any details specifically, but I want to say that this manga has really cool themes. Gachiakuta dives heavily into the concept of humanity and how quick they are willing to discard old things or objects as junk, which can affect the environment and everyone in ways that you wouldn't expect. That also ties directly within the story of Gachiakuta. Some people within this universe have special abilities. The powers from the series derive from people taking good care of particular objects they deeply cherish and care about. The mangaka behind the series, Kei Urana, was an assistant that worked on the series Fire Force together with Atsushi Okubo, and Kei Urana was apparently a fan of Soul Eater when she was growing up. So I think it's quite inspiring to see how talented Kei Urana is and how she managed to become an assistant to one of her biggest artistic inspirations. Just a little bit more of the artwork. This guy's my husbando. Engine, he is really cool, and I guess I'll just leave it at that. Next up, we have another battle shonen series, but it's from the author of Full Metal Alchemist, Hiromu Arakawa. I guess this also is a dark fantasy with supernatural elements, and it's called Yomi no Tsugai. In English, it's known as Demons of the Shadow Realm. Here's an overview of the dust jacket. Here is the cover design. A little bit of a map, I guess. I'm personally very excited to see what direction this series goes in, since I'm a huge fan of Hiromu Arakawa and her writing style. These two are the main characters from the series. They are twins, and in a way they represent the night and the day. Both of them grow up in a very remote village that is very hidden from the rest of the world. Surprisingly enough, the story actually takes place in modern-day Japan, present day. Within this series, you have Tsugai. They are meant to be monsters, demons, yokai, aliens, you know, all of those crazy monster things that have various different names. And in a way, I'm not sure if I should make the comparison, but the series is similar to Pokemon, since people can have multiple Tsugai that they control and basically use to fight. The manga is monthly, so we haven't had the chance to see the story full on and those many details about it, but I am quite intrigued and I really like what I've seen so far. The artwork is also just what you would expect from Hiromu Arakawa. I love her character designs, and this guy is like mega hot, so yeah, I'm gonna have a good time reading this, and if it sounds interesting to you, definitely tag along. It's gonna be worth it. Okay, next up we have a really intriguing fantasy series about building monster homes. It's called Soara and Monster's House. Let's check out the contents underneath the dust jacket. It has a nice golden foil effect, and I guess you have floor plans for different houses for monsters, and I really like this little design here. It's very cute. And here is a better view at the dust jacket. We also have some extra art pieces with goblins and griffins and slimes. The cover also has a texture. It's very subtle. This mangaka is incredibly talented at coming up with just monster designs for fantasy series. He is very good at it, and previously he worked on a series called Merry Grave, which is also excellent. As for this manga, this is the main character. Her name is Soara, and for her entire life, she goes through a lot of just really harsh training to become a monster slayer. Sadly for her, the timing is off and humanity decides to go at peace with monsters in general, so there is no more need for monster slayers and stuff like that, so she tries to find a path for herself and her life. Soara doesn't know exactly what she wants to do with her life, so she kind of just wanders around and stumbles across these really funny looking dwarves, and basically these dwarves go around and help all kinds of different monsters to build homes that are more efficient and can actually keep them sheltered from the elements and all kinds of other things. For example, here you can see that goblins live in homes that are quite dangerous and not necessarily that safe or protective, so they get to building and they create something quite special. I guess this is like the after shot of what the new house looks like, and here's like the interior scheme. I don't know, I just think this manga is very fascinating and it just does what it does very well. If this sounds intriguing to you, definitely give it a try. Next up we have two rom-com series that I absolutely adore so much. They're both from 2022 and they instantly captivated me. On the left we have You and I Are Polar Opposites, and on the right we have Behind the Supermarket Smoking with You. This is from Jump Plus, and it's a shonen rom-com, I guess. It's super charming, like, oh my god. This is what's under the dust jacket. Really cute. I guess it's slightly different compared to the dust jacket design. Well, obviously enough, these two are the main characters, and oh my goodness, they are both such sweethearts and such goofballs. Well, mostly she is a goofball, but yeah, he's more of a serious, straight-faced guy. All of the characters in this manga are so incredibly charming and lovable and likable. The facial expressions in this oftentimes remind me of something that you would see maybe in a manga from like Akiko Higashimura, but maybe that's just me. The facial expressions also are oftentimes very just silly and kind of goofy. They have this very unique appeal to them, and it really just gives me some vibes that I haven't seen in other rom-com series. The side characters in this are also incredibly charming. We have not seen very much of any of the characters actually because the manga is super new, but the more I get to know everyone, the more I love the manga. I'm very invested in everything that this has to offer, so looking forward to more. Now let's go back to the other romantic series from this year that I love, Behind the Supermarket Smoking with You. The art style for this manga instantly got me hooked. I was very intrigued to read it just based on the character designs alone, and I was not disappointed, let me tell you. In fact, this manga surprised me so much I was kind of shocked, because quite frankly I was not expecting to enjoy this as much as I did. And the cover design is actually quite nice with the kind of like cigarette pack as a detail because, well, obviously this series involves smoking behind a supermarket. Here we have the two main characters. They are both adults. The guy is quite older than she is, and it creates a lot of little funny situations since this guy is a little bit of an airhead, but he is incredibly charming and very hot, let's be honest. Do I simp too easily for my husbandos? Maybe yes, but you know what? It's worth it. Here is the art style. This actually started off as a Twitter webcomic from what I know, and it was very successful. It got picked up and it just blew up sales-wise. It's very successful, which makes me very happy, of course, and I will continue supporting the series and reading it because it just has so much charm to it, and in a way it kind of reminds me of the manga Call of the Night because it mostly takes place at night, and you have the night vibes going on with these two meeting behind a convenience store, and let's just say that she has two sides to herself which he is not aware of, and it just leads to some silly situations that are very playful between the two. The interactions are very cute, and the romance has not really fully started developing yet, but we're getting there maybe. If this manga is for you, it's gonna be for you and you're gonna love it, let me tell you, because I was just not expecting to love this as much as I did. If it weren't for Gachiakuta, this would be my favorite manga from 2022, so there's that. Next up we have a really unique manga since it's about the art form of arranging flowers in Japan. You know what? You gotta give manga credit because it can make any type of topic or story interesting. I would have never thought that I would get invested in a story about arranging flowers, but here we are, and this manga is really beautifully illustrated. It takes place in high school. This is one of the main characters. He is very cheerful and bubbly, but he actually has a little bit of a sad family situation going on since his younger sister is very sick. He is basically an otaku. He's very hardcore into an anime about flower girls with magical powers. Let's just put it that way. And whenever he passes by in the hallway, he notices these beautiful flower arrangements that constantly change around. And in this case, one of the flower arrangements reminded him of one of the important characters from from the anime that he's just really into. And let's just say that one thing leads to another, and he ends up joining a club that is dedicated to arranging flowers because it actually brings a smile to his sister's face. It is very much a manga about finding something new to enjoy, finding something to become passionate and invested in, and this is the other main character. He is rather gloomy, and let's just say that they make a great pair. Next up we have volumes 3 and 4 from Kurogane no Valhallian, also known as Valhallian the Black Iron, and this one has an amazing art style. It is a very action-packed manga. It's a seinen series. The story kind of goes like this. We have a samurai and he gets isekai'd into Valhalla, where basically he has to fight and clash off with other immortal warriors from different time periods. I guess the concept is very similar to the manga Drifters, if you remember that one from a while ago. The artwork is just so detailed and the action scenes are very intense. It's quite brutal and you have a lot of crazy fight scenes happening. I highly recommend this if you're on the lookout for a new exciting seinen series to get hooked on, I guess. Next up we have volumes 3 and 4 from Ottoman, another really awesome action-packed seinen series that I adore. These are the main characters. They are a happily married couple, and my goodness, their interactions are so wholesome. Let's just say that these two end up getting mixed up in some trouble caused by an alien invasion, and maybe one of them or both of them end up having some crazy alien powers that disrupt their marriage a little bit. You know, he powers up through positive emotions, and he especially gets more powerful whenever he thinks about how much he loves his wife. The name of the series Ottoman is actually a play on words. It's meant to be a superhero name, basically. Otto means husband in Japanese, and then you have the man part, so I guess it makes sense. The manga is going to end soon with 5 volumes in total, and I definitely recommend this if you are a fan of stuff like Parasite or Kaiju number 8. And speaking of Kaiju number 8, I have volumes 6 and 7. Here's like the back covers. Actually, I should just show you the full-on dust jacket designs. I adore this manga so much. I have been loving it since day one, and it has not disappointed. Here are some color pages. I'm really looking forward to the anime. I'm very excited to see who is going to be in charge of it because this needs a very good studio to adapt it. The action scenes and the scale of everything is absolutely just insane. The current arc has had a lot of buildup happening, and it seems that humanity will clash full on with the kaiju in a very intense way. There definitely will be a lot of losses on both sides. I have to quickly say the characters in this manga are so awesome. I love them. The more I get to know them, the more attached I become. A lot of the characters are very much just professionals at what they do, but they also have their own fun little quirks and funny things about them that just brings them to life more. The cover designs in this are so cool, and I guess I should show you some of the artwork. Let's see, I don't want to spoil anything. This is the main character, by the way. He is an older guy in his 30s, which is not that common for shonen manga, so that's refreshing. Some more artwork because why not? I recommend this if you're into action, sci-fi, exciting series because that's what this is. Next we have volumes 4, 5, and 6 from Dandadan, a really insane, crazy, unhinged series. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. Let's take a better look at the cover designs. Yes, this is what you can expect from the series. It's an action manga with sci-fi and supernatural elements. I'm not sure how the hell I'm supposed to describe everything because it's so wacky and random and truly unpredictable. Some really bizarre situations happen all around. A lot of the characters that get introduced are super quirky and weird and wacky. Let's check out the color page too. Volume 6 in particular has an absolutely insane cover design. I mean, look at this. Now we have volumes 27 and 28 from Tokyo Revengers. I adore this series, I've been keeping up with it, and I'm really just excited to see how it ends. I'm a little bit anxious. I'm like wondering if my favorite characters are gonna make it or not. I'm not gonna mention much more due to spoilers, but yeah, I'm really heavily invested in the storyline. The manga is very much in its final stages. It doesn't have that much left. Next we have volumes 6, 7, and 8 from Windbreaker. This is also a delinquent series, and it's also a shonen series. This is the design underneath the dust jacket. I'm not going to show it for the other volumes because it's quite similar. You have a bunch of high school guys brawling it out and getting in trouble in delinquent fights. The character designs in this are very cool and lively. I really enjoy the fashion sense, and this manga has some surprisingly wholesome and just nice elements about friendship in it. A lot of the high schoolers in this are good guys, and they actually do their best to help the small community that they live in. But unfortunately, a lot of other guys from other camps just want to start trouble. If you are into modern day delinquent series, then give this one a try. I'm sure it's going to become more popular when it gets an anime, because in Japan it is quite successful. Next we have volumes 18, 19, and 20 from Blue Lock. I think Blue Lock has just become my favorite shonen sports series because it has been consistently phenomenal, just absolutely breathtaking. The artwork is excellent, and the covers, I guess from this point onwards, are maybe going to have the holographic sheen effect, or at least for now, in the current arc. This looks so good. Oh my god, I love the metallic effect. This guy is a total hottie, and he is a German player named Kaiser. He currently plays an active role in what's happening in the story, which I can't really mention too much about, but here I'll show you some of the artwork. The paneling of this is so creative, and a lot of the visual metaphors are just crazy. They're mind-blowing. Everything about this is absolutely top tier. Like, the craftsmanship that goes into the series is amazing. I'm also excited to see the anime for this one because this series is just straight up fire all the way through. The manga is consistently action-packed despite being a sports series, and it always is exciting. It's always just fun to see what the characters are going to be up to, like what crazy stunts they're going to pull off. And yeah, it's quite unlike any other sports series that I've come across, to be honest. It's just so well made. Next, we have volumes 33 and 34 from Fire Force with really intense covers, and these are actually the last volumes from the series. I am a huge fan of Fire Force. It's actually one of my all-time favorite battle shonen dark fantasy manga. It was an incredibly enjoyable experience all the way through, and the ending was, in a way, kind of like a beautiful homage to the previous works of Atsushi Okubo, in a way. I'm not going to get into details or anything too specific, but yeah, keep that in mind. Volume 34, I think because it was a first printing, it came with this art card, which is really cool. It also has a promo pamphlet for Gachiakuta. If you remember earlier, I mentioned how Kei Urana, the mangaka behind Gachiakuta, was an assistant that worked on Fire Force, and this illustration is actually done by Atsushi Okubo, so that's really sweet. You'll love to see it. The artwork in this manga is god tier, quite literally. The character designs are very good. Here's a little snippet of what you can expect art-wise. I love the style so much. If you enjoy incredibly well-made action manga, you definitely need to try this one out because it is a spectacle all the way through. The way that the fire powers are used is really fun. Next, we have volumes 6, 7, and 8 from Sakamoto Days. This manga is an action comedy series about assassins. It has a lot of interesting contrasts going on, you know? There's a lot of duality in a way because the main character has two sides to himself very much, and all of the characters in general have two sides to themselves. They are very cold-blooded assassins that are very efficient at what they do, and at the same time, they also have just really weird, quirky, wacky personality traits that you wouldn't necessarily expect. So there is quite a contrast there, and some of the fight scenes from this series are just so absurd, so ridiculous, so over the top, to the point where like I can't help but be charmed by what this manga is doing, and I don't take it necessarily too seriously because the manga itself doesn't take itself too seriously, you know? Even if it is incredibly violent and there's a lot of gore happening left and right, the characters still know how to have a good time and laugh and to be goofballs. This is what the volumes look like under the dust jackets. The manga has been growing in popularity quite a lot. I guess you should brace yourselves because you're not going to be ready for the insanity that this manga packs. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I really like shonen manga, and we have another action dark fantasy series, Tougen Anki, volumes 8, 9, and 10. I guess the manga has a somewhat edgy vibe to it, which is something that I enjoy quite a lot. It's very much an urban fantasy type of series where you have two different camps or organizations that have different types of powers. You basically have people with blood-based powers fighting off against people with bacteria-based powers. The fight scenes are very nice. This is another series that I'm sure is going to get an anime sooner or later because it's quite new, and whenever that happens, it's going to gain more popularity, which it quite deserves because it's great. Now we have one of my favorite weekly ongoing shonen manga, Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun. This manga has a very different vibe from the other shonen series that I have presented earlier in the video because it just has a very wholesome tone to it, but it also gets intense as well, and there is action too, but the main focus, the big focus is school life and ranking up, getting a higher ranking within the demon society or the demon world. The adult characters in this series are really great. They are mostly the teachers from the school, and what's really cool is the teachers just genuinely care about the youth, about the students, about the future of the demon world, and for once it's really nice to see some teachers that actually give a crap about their students because that doesn't happen at all usually, let's be honest. Next, we have Volume 9 from Spy Family. I don't think this series needs too much of an introduction. It is all around excellent. Everything about this series is fantastic. I love it so much. I love the themes. I love the wholesomeness. I love the action. This manga probably has one of the greatest lineups ever when it comes to main characters. All of them are just so amazing. I'm looking forward to season 2 of the anime. Now we have Volume 16 from Kemono Jihen. This is an all-around, absolutely excellent dark fantasy battle shonen series with themes about finding family. The cast of characters is actually quite younger than what you typically see. Despite that, the series isn't afraid to hold back on how brutal it can get, and here is some of the artwork. I really enjoy the art style for this one. And the fashion sense and the way that the characters dress is just iconic. Coming up, we have volumes 18, 19, and 20 from Jujutsu Kaisen, another very popular series that doesn't really need any extra introductions. The anime-only people will not be ready for how amazing season 2 of the anime is going to be because some insane arcs get adapted. And let's also check out volume 20. I forgot to take off the obi for that, oops. Here is some of the artwork from this series. I don't want to show too much because I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, the action scenes as per usual are fantastic. Here we have volumes 25 and 26 from One Punch Man. This manga has some of the greatest artwork from all of the manga that I have come across. I love all of the artwork from the volumes for the series. With volume 5 here of Diamond in the Rough, I managed to clear up another one of these big manga stacks, so we are making progress. This one also has some color pages. The art style is very pretty, as you can see here. And besides the beautiful art style, this series is basically a large-scale adventure fantasy within a universe where people can take special powers from semi-precious gems or just gems in general, stones, you know, stuff like that. The setting is very much Asian-inspired from what I've seen so far. The main character is on a quest to help his parents recover their natural bodies because they've been basically petrified. Diamond in the Rough is definitely a hidden gem, and please check it out if it sounds interesting to you. I have finally reached the third stack of manga here, and we have volume 17 of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun with a gorgeous cover as per usual. It's exactly what you would expect from this series. Holy cow, look at this. This is the perfect series to get into in the spooky Halloween season, so if you have not tried this manga yet, definitely consider it in October. I'm always amazed and refreshed whenever I read a chapter of the series because you just don't get this type of artwork from anything else. Next, we have volume 5 from Dai Dark. And if we remove the dust jacket, we have this abomination. As per usual, the covers for this series are really fun and playful. The dust jacket is full-on just transparent. The volumes typically have color pages, so let's try to explore and find them. I absolutely love Q Hayashida's dark and grimy art style. It's just so unique and different from what I usually see in manga. The story is an adventure that takes place in space, so you can see a lot of space exploration. It has a lot of sci-fi themes and elements, of course. There also is very much like this bio-punkish feel, and I guess it is what you would expect from this author, especially if you've read Dorohedoro, you would know what I mean. Okay, here is the rest of the color pages. This manga has a lot of charm, and I highly recommend it if you want something different. Now we have volume 11 from Made in Abyss. This is one of my all-time favorite adventure series. Let's also check out some of the artwork. The art style is kind of like on another level with its vibe and atmosphere. Now for something a little bit different and spicy, we have a seinen romantic question mark series because I'm not quite sure. Is it a romantic series? I guess if you read it, you can find out. It's called Yakuza Fiancé in English, and the Japanese name is Wa Tanin Ga Ii. If you like the idea of a Yakuza high school love story where both of the main characters are kind of crazy and you have a bunch of cool details about the underworld in Japan also happening as the story goes on, you know, this is worth looking into for sure. Plus the art style is super unique. And now we have probably one of the prettiest volume covers from my entire collection, volume 10 from Witch Hat Atelier. Just look at this, my goodness. This is one of the best fantasy magic series in all of manga, easily, no questions asked, and this is also one of the series with the best artwork in all of manga right now, so if you like witches and magic, this is basically a must-read. Here is some of the artwork. Alright, volume 28 from Awashi. An excellent weekly seinen sports manga about soccer. It has a realistic vibe to it, and I highly recommend it. A lot more people know about the series now thanks to the anime, which is great. I really enjoyed this one, and it's easily one of the best ongoing sports series at the moment. If you are an enthusiast of sports manga, this is a must-read, absolutely. Okay, now I have two special edition volumes for the case study of Vanitas and Tokyo Aliens. Each one of these comes with a little booklet with various illustrations from the mangaka. You know what? I'm going to make a separate video about both of these volumes later, maybe this month, and I'm going to show these a little bit more in depth. This is the original volume cover, this is the special edition cover. Of course I picked this one because it looks way better and way cooler. I guess I'll show you the color pages from the volumes. As I mentioned, I will cover these more in depth in a future video. I also picked up volume 13 and the guidebook from Drifting Dragons. An absolutely gorgeous cover as per usual, and here are some of the finer details. Underneath the dust jacket we have this. These are actually dragons, believe it or not, and the cover for the guidebook. Okay. The style and presentation for this manga are absolutely top tier. I adore the art style, and let's see, let me show you some examples of what you can expect. Just stunning all around. The story is rather interesting. It is a mix of steampunk, fantasy, and you basically have a crew of dragon hunters flying throughout the skies in a flying airship, a very big one. When it comes to dragons, I feel like most people have like a certain image in their head of what they expect, but Drifting Dragons oftentimes uses sea creatures as inspiration for the dragon designs in this. Here is an example of an abandoned flying ship, I guess. You can think of the sky as a vast ocean or sea, and inside of the vast ocean, or in this case the sky, you have all kinds of just mysterious, mystical creatures that are dragons, and they have all types of different designs and concepts. So yeah, this is one of my favorite seinen manga at the moment. I highly recommend it. For this volume, I left on the obi, which is this promotional wraparound jacket. And as you can see, Studio Trigger is actually going to be adapting Dungeon Meshi. This is the name of the manga, also known as Delicious in Dungeon. A few years ago, Studio Trigger actually did a short animation to promote one of the volumes from the series, and I always thought that if this gets an anime, it should be done by Studio Trigger, and here we have it. I am very excited to see everyone in action, and this manga is an absolutely phenomenal dungeon crawling series. It is definitely one of the best and coolest fantasy manga I have ever come across. If you like monsters, monster designs, and also foodie themes, definitely check this out. I also have volumes 15 and 14 from the Record of Ragnarok. This is an over-the-top battle to the death type of manga between humanity and gods. Now for something a little bit more mysterious, we have volumes 10 and 11 from Shadow's House. And here is a better view at the dust jacket itself, at the artwork. This is like a suspenseful, mysterious series with dark elements. Here is some of the black and white artwork. It's very gloomy, but also very pretty and refined. We're almost finished. I have volume 7 from Mieruko-chan. A very fun mix of horror and comedy, and it works perfectly somehow. Typically, we should have a color page, and here is also some of the artwork. Then we have volumes 9 and 10 from The Way of the Househusband. This is a very fun, comedic, episodic series. This guy is the main character. He is a former Yakuza boss, and now he is a househusband. He takes care of everything that his wife needs help with. He always ends up in very wacky situations and misunderstandings because of the way that he looks, and he also acts in a very intense way. My goodness, this was a big haul. It was quite something to film everything, but hopefully you can find something new and fun to read, and SaberStash is signing out. Thanks for watching. Bye.